And that someone is Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison of Texas, who's introduced legislation to freeze the biofuel, meaning mostly ethanol mandate, at current levels, rather than letting it steadily increase through 2022 as the current law stipulates. Something that would be disastrous for the American people, given how bad the current smaller mandate has already been. Senator Hutchison is a mad money kind of politician, someone who's in favor of offshore drilling and nukes and not against solar or wind, and knows we need true energy independence, just like us. And she's opposed to the horrible crucify mankind upon a cross of ethanol policy that we hate. Here's a senator who actually visited with Pilgrim's Pride, that's chicken, Sanderson Farms, more chicken, and Tyson, that's all poultry and meat products, to survey the damage that is going to companies that have to pay more for feed for their animals, because so much of our corn is being diverted to ethanol production. That's doing your homework. That's what should have been done before the ethanol mandate. That's what you should be thinking of ahead of the big July 4th picnic, where your hamburgers and hot dogs and chicken are going to cost almost double from last year. And that's why I'm not just delighted, but also proud to bring Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison on Mad Money. Senator, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jim. It's great to be with you.
Senator, let me be naive, sound naive, but I'll risk it. Why did we go down this path of ethanol that made it so the everyday person has to pay so much more for chicken and beef, which they can't avoid because it's what we eat in the country?
Well, the original concept was to try to make cleaner burning gasoline. And instead of MTBE, which had been the additive, ethanol was considered more environmentally friendly. But the aftermath of that, the consequences were not really looked at by Congress. And what we're seeing is the rise of food prices. Not only, as you mentioned, the livestock producers are really being squeezed. Their food costs are going up, so all of our meat is going up, chicken, beef, pork. But in addition to that, it's crowding out wheat and other forms of food so that we have people growing corn to get the higher price, and now we have wheat shortages, so the price of bread is going up.
Well, Senator, I know that, you know that, but the agenda didn't change when we saw this. Senator Obama, we know from the Barack Obama, we know from the New York Times, believes this is a fabulous thing. You would think that, well, then again, I forgot he was from Illinois, the second largest corn producer. But you would think that people would care about how much more we pay for food. Why is it, even after we've seen the consequences, such a given that you are going to fail on this?
Jim, that is such a valid question. You would think that Congress would see the light and that we would at least put a freeze on the mandate and let us look at the other forms of alternative fuels to make up the difference and try to get corn prices back in line.
Now, Senator,
unfortunately, however, remember, you're dealing with Congress.
I know. Now, Senator, one thing that I can tell is that you are actually a possible bridge person. You believe in drilling, but you also believe in alternative energy. Is there any chance in the vast scheme of things where the big environmentalists could come together with the people who understand energy self-sufficiency and clean drilling, which is what we talk about every night on the show, and recognize that everybody has to give up a little something, but that we get to where we have to faster on energy independence, and we work together as a nation rather than just hate each other?
Jim, there should be a way that we could have a balanced plan. I do believe that the environmentalists are beginning to see that it takes more out of our environment to produce ethanol, and I think that is beginning to be an established concept.
My hopes.
And
my hope.
I do believe that if everybody would sit down and say, look, nobody wants to hurt the environment, and fossil burning fuels, maybe in 15, 20, 25 years, we won't need those. But right now, in the short term, we do. We've got to get these prices of gasoline down at the pump. We've got to get food prices down to help American families and small businesses. So why don't we have a short-term and a long-term strategy? And why don't we have clean burning gasoline, do everything we can with expanded refineries to bring the price down right now. But in the long term, we, after the transition, would go towards solar, nuclear,
Absolutely.
Wind energy. There are many other forms of energy that we're on the cusp of getting to.
All right, Senator, let me ask you one last question, because you're from Texas, you know, because some of the companies are located there. We have spent all week, and will continue to spend all week, on the notion that we are no longer trapped in the 1969 Santa Barbara spill, that our companies have developed fabulous, clean drilling techniques that would prevent that. Why do we not have a debate where at least the environmentalists give us the notion that our technology has improved so much that we can clean drill?
Once again, you're right on target. I have said it looks like the environmentalist community went to sleep in 1950 and haven't waked up yet. Our technology is unsurpassed. You haven't seen problems with nuclear power plants in the last 25 years. There have been no oil spills. Even after Katrina, which hit New Orleans, there was not an oil spill. We are now able to produce oil and natural gas environmentally safely. And that's what we ought to be doing to bring the price down.
Excellent. Thank you, Senator Hutchison, for coming in here with a little horse sense. I appreciate it. Good to see you again.
Thank you.
All right, maybe it's because I own some cows. Maybe because I've seen the bill that I got to pay. Maybe because I'm sticking the bill for somebody else right now. But I got to tell you something. I have listened to her. She makes sense to me. Look, I'm an environmentalist. She makes sense to me. She's right. I think you should stick with the senator, and I think you should stick with Cramer.